Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons, back with another critique video for you guys. This specific one was a request from Kevin Dobson, so shout out to you, man. It's by Veruca Salt, and I think the song is called So Weird. Now, I've never heard this before, so I'm looking forward to it. From the title, from the name of the band, Veruca Salt, a reference to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Kevin had told me they started in '95, I think he said it was. I'm guessing this is going to be kind of like an indie alt-rock thing, and if it's called So Weird, I'm guessing it's going to be quite out there as well. But yeah, if you enjoy this, let me know with a like and a comment, and if you don't like it, let me know by hitting dislike and leaving a constructive comment as well. If you let me know what you don't like and what you do, I can take it on board and try and adapt things going forward. If you're new here, feel free to do the whole subscribe notifications thing. I'm sure you know the drill, but it is very much appreciated. Right, let's just get into it. So first things first, I don't know when this video will come out, but at the moment I'm still living in a kind of lockdown land where gigs are forbidden. So this is quite a nice sight, just to imagine being at a gig, and it in of itself is a somewhat of a luxury at the moment. Not that I'm complaining, but yeah, it just puts things in perspective a bit, I suppose. But my dreariness aside, what I was getting at there is it looks like a cool venue. It looks like the crowd are already having fun, so let's hopefully join them. Okay, cool, so he's starting off the song by doing some natural harmonics. I'm guessing it's the harmonic on the 7th fret on the E. If you don't know what natural harmonics are, I've done a video on them before, but basically it's a note with a different kind of tonal quality to it. You know how it sounds a bit like a synth or maybe a bit broken? That kind of like really sound, the harmonic there. And he's playing chords over the top of it, a little bit like Tornado Souls, the Megadeth song. I'll link to that up there. Totally different genre, but a really similar combination of techniques of using the chord with the natural harmonics. Nice. Yeah, a nice 90s kind of like sort of borderline fuzz, soft rock tone, but with just enough edge and kind of like sizzle and spice that is cutting through. And like riffs like this are great to start off with because you know the crowd can get behind the rhythm and get into it, what it looks like they're doing here. Cool, I'm liking this. This is like it's almost kind of grungy. It's maybe like a bit like a Nirvana or an Alice in Chains thing with almost like a kind of Queen of the Stone Age or like Dandy Warhols. Like if you put all of them in a blender, that's the sort of thing you'd get coming out of it because there's these cool little dissonant bends as well. I've cut off just when this lead singer's about to start here, so let's let her have her piece.
You're speaking words, but all I ever heard is white noise from weird voice space. You're spacing out.
It's a nice delivery. It's that very 90s thing where it's almost what's the word? I think it's Sprechgesang. It's a technique. It's an old, somewhat antiquated German one where you kind of speak sing is what it translates as. I'll try and get the proper word up on the screen because I think I've said it wrong. Another example would be Damon Albarn when he does his gorilla stuff. He kind of references that as a technique he uses as well. But it's this really kind of breathy thing where they're not really, you know, someone like Ronnie James Dio is like a metal singer like Bruce Dickinson. They use a lot of their stomach and quite a lot of projection and compression. This voice is really kind of almost like whispered. It's all kept in the mouth.
By the way, what's that face about? It's so weird, it's so weird. You don't know me, you don't own me. You're just passing through my life.
Cool, and then this is why that style works so well is when she's gone to the chorus there, she's gone for a kind of fuller sound. Sorry, I'm talking about the vocals much more than the guitar here. I'll get back around to it. But that's cool, it makes it pop more, and then you've got the bassist coming in doing a backing, which it's a bit quiet in the mix, but it's sounding like she's doing a third above it, which is just a really nice typical harmony to add in. Really makes the chorus pop.
You're a stranger with bad behavior. You're so weird, I'm terrified. That lounge, a chain-smoking Charlie Brown. You're busted out and broken down. So
It's a nice tight band as well. Everything is kind of in its place. I can't really hear the guitar. The singer's playing so much here. It might just be the mix, it might be my ears, but everything I can hear just sounds nice, and it's that kind of way that 90s bands just have that kind of tightness to them. Yeah. So I'm going to articulate that a little bit better. There's like bands like Nirvana that were a 3-piece. You also had bands like Rage Against the Machine, which although they're a 4-piece, they kind of had like the tightness of a 3-piece. And I get that kind of same vibe off these guys as well. It just feels nice and in the pocket. That's cool as well. The so weird, it's like the hook. So it's kind of before the chorus, and I think she might have done it after as well. So it's a songwriting technique. Other than just having a chorus, you can have like a kind of a tag, I suppose, rather than a hook. The so weird. You don't know me. And I feel like that lyric probably came up from one of them going, that's so weird, just like in everyday life, and they've turned it into a song. That's just a total guess on my part, but that's what it feels like might have happened.
You don't know me. You're just passing through my life.
There's also some nice rasp on her vocals, some nice distortion she's putting on there as well.
You're a stranger with bad behavior. You're so weird, I'm terrified.
And back down to the guitar, which has been somewhat overshadowed by just my enjoyment of everything else. It looks like he's got a dual rectifier going into a Marshall cab there, which would, yeah, that would give you this nice kind of like clean enough. I don't mean clean in terms of like distortion texture, but clear, I should probably say, kind of crisp tone from the Marshall cab, I'd guess, and then you get that kind of sort of lower mid-range borderline fuzzness from the Mesa. It's another thing on the note of the kind of bands he had in the 90s, all off the back of the Pixies, essentially. Nice, decent dynamics. So when we started off with the guitar, then it built up and everyone was going, and we come to the bridge, it's gone down to just the guitar and the vocals. And there, she's kind of almost whispering the lyrics as well, just to kind of bring that dynamic down a little bit lower before, I suspect, building it up here. Yeah, I stand by my like Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Dandy Warhols, Queen of the Stone Age thing, because that's like quite a Josh Homme thing to do. I really like that little build-up. I think I've written something very similar and kind of tunes of my own. I've unwittingly ripped them off, I think.
You don't know me. You don't own me. You're just sucking up my life. You're a stranger with bad behavior. You're so weird, I'm terrified.
You're a stranger with bad behavior. I'm so weird, I'm terrified. Beautiful. Great stuff.
You don't know me. You don't own me. You're just
Cool. This is a nice way to end a song. If you want to add a little bit something extra, just listen to what the drums are doing here. They're kind of like snare on the one, I think. I'm going to listen to that again to double check I've got it right, but I think he's doing snare on the one, kick on the and. So normally you have a bass snare like a doom. Here we're getting like a kdoom, kdoom, kdoom. Or in the case here, I might have misheard it before, you get a snare kick, so you're going to t-t-doom, t-t-doom. Nice. Yeah, and that just adds like an extra kind of flourish to a song. Oh, cheers, Kevin. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Just like good quintessential 90s rock, isn't it? I feel I probably should have paid more attention to the drummer and the bassist in hindsight, but what can you do? I'll just watch it again. I guess we have a good excuse to do that anyway. But yeah, I'm more than open to suggestions, so just fire them down in the comments if you've got any, and I'll do my best to get to them. There's sometimes issues with copyright regarding songs, so there's a request I had a while back for a Stevie Ray Vaughan thing, which I tried to sort of get up. And lots of companies will just take any revenue you make from a video, which is, it's not ideal, but it's fine. At least you can get up and get out, and and hopefully make something that's a bit informative or deconstructs the performance, so you can add these elements to your own craft. But there's other times the video is just totally blocked, and you can't use it at all for any sort of critique or anything. So whether I'm able to do them or not is a bit up in the air, sadly. Worst case scenario, I get to check it out, I get back to you in the comments, and I say it was blocked. So have at it. Alright, so as mentioned, the guitar's tone, I'm going to talk a little bit like what that sounded like was going on to me. I might be off the mark here, so if you know about his gear more than I do, which is a good chance you do, just fire it down in the comments. But he was using some sort of Mesa, so I'm just using a plugin here. I've got like a dual rectifier sound. It's very clean for me, but quite dirty for some, I suppose. You can play lightly. It's fairly clean if I dig in. There's a bit of kind of raunch to it. You could use it as a rhythm tone. But what I've got here in front of the plugins, in front of the kind of digital modelling that I'm using, is a really cheap little Behringer fuzz pedal. I've done a sound demo and review of this, so I'll link to that with the eye up there. If I've run out of cards, I'll just stick it down below, as well as an affiliate link if you want to pick one up from Thoma, and I'll get a really small kickback from that. But yeah, basically I'll put the settings I've got up on the screen here. We're going to stomp that on, so this is the clean tone. I'm going to put it on. So they're kind of fattening up the sound and adding a wee bit of fuzz. So we got this kind of... And also, just as a side note, to get this tone, I listened to the live version, but I also went and listened to the studio version as well. And I kind of found a sort of ground in between, because the studio version is a lot less bass heavy. It's a lot kind of thinner and sharper as you'd expect it to be in a studio recording, so it really kind of cuts through. So let's talk about some of the techniques there. He's using the natural harmonics with chords. So with the natural harmonic, you're just resting your finger lightly above the fret. So there on the 7th fret on the low E string. And it was... So after you play the chord, you're muting these two strings by keeping your fingers on them so they're not going to ring out. And this finger here, your first finger, is just resting very lightly on the 7th fret. I should say above the 7th fret, really, resting on the string. And you get the harmonic, and you can do that. So there's places this won't work particularly well, like on the 8th fret. You want to find somewhere where there's a harmonic, so the 5th fret will work. The 3rd fret probably will. But there's also 3 harmonics you could get on the 3rd fret, so that's a bit tricky. 12, that's going to work, but be a bit boring. 9 is going to be kind of cool. There are weird harmonics in between, like there's probably one on the 4th you could get. So there's a lot of fun to be had with this, and it doesn't need to be a harmonic on the low E string. It could be, for example, the D if we play the chord here. Now let's try up here. So there, I'm just getting the harmonic on the 7th fret on the D for the first one. Second time, on that 9th fret there. What you do need to watch out for is that you make sure this finger's lifted up if you want the harmonic. If I rest it down, I don't get the harmonic, so this finger is kind of muting the string here so it can't resonate all the way. If I lift that finger up, harmonic's there, nice and clear. So I'll move my hand, you can see what I'm doing. This finger's flush against the strings, I'm not going to get a harmonic on the D string, right? Lift it up, it's there. So if you wanted to get a harmonic on a different string, that's what you need to do. So that's why it's more common to play them on the low E string, because you don't have any other fingers behind here that are stopping it from ringing out and generating a harmonic. So the other cool thing that he was doing is bending the chord, so it sounded like it was just a kind of, like not even a semitone, just a quarter tone. I'm not entirely sure if he was just bending these notes or the full chord, but it certainly sounded like the full chord to me. I haven't listened to this riff close enough to get it verbatim, but it was along the lines of something like... So two things that pop out there when you're doing this little hammer on that I think happens, or I suppose it's just pulling the notes. You don't want to hit that, so I'm rolling my finger slightly. Also with the harmonics, if you pick closer to the bridge, they're going to sound out more prominently. Like if you just do a quick experiment, I'm picking just as hard. but you hear them a bit more clearly because there's more treble at the bridge, I assume. The final thing I want to talk about is I mentioned doing a sort of inverted drum beat where we're putting the snare on the 1 and the kick on the 2, or some variations on that. So I'm just going to vamp on a chord, I'm just going to play that B, and I'm going to change the drum beats underneath, and hopefully you can hear when the snare comes in on the 1, it's got this kind of extra drive to it that you don't usually get. So I'm playing exactly the same thing, but because the music's changing around it, it kind of adds this sense of urgency. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, you'd probably know the drill. You can do the little subscribe notification thing, the likes and the comments. They really help the video's visibility in the channel in general. But take it easy, guys. Have a good one.